What's up guys, it's Eric from Rare Candy and welcome back to another entry into our testing round series where we take a look at some new cards that a new set gives us and we build some early deck ideas around them to start testing them out. So for this entry we are going to be taking a look at some new decks from Crimson Invasion. On the left you have yours truly. I'm going to be playing the new Gourgeist from the set, and then over on the right we actually don't have Marcus from the channel. He has had kind of a crazy work schedule and been having trouble being able to record some of these videos with us, but to take his place we actually have up and coming PokeTuber Corey Meesmer. He's part of a channel called Silvally GX TCG, so big thanks to him for sitting down and doing this video to help get out on the channel for you guys to watch. So this should be an interesting match. Silvally GX on the right, like I said, Corey's playing that. Definitely one of the most hyped decks from the set. Gourgeist not so much, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how kind of like an underrated deck like Gourgeist stacks up to one that has as much excitement as Silvally. So I believe I won the coin flip here, and I'm going to open with a Klefki, which might look kind of weird. So for you guys who are unfamiliar with Gourgeist, it has this attack for a DCE. It does 10, and then you can discard any number of tool cards from your field to do an extra 40 for each tool card discarded. So that's kind of the goal of the deck. We're going to try to set up Gourgeist, discard our tools, and Klefki can actually act as a tool whenever you use its Wonderlock ability. So that's how we're playing that. But here I'm going to bridge it and we're going to grab a Pumpkaboo, actually two Pumpkaboos and a Zorua. It does look like there's a bit of a glare, which we didn't know when we record this, so I do apologize for that. I'll try to narrate the best I can and clarify what's happening on screen if you guys can't make it out. So pretty much a solid turn, don't really need too much else. Floatstone might be nice just to retreat this Klefki, but overall not too bad. So we're just going to pass over to Corey, and he's going to use a Bridget of his own. No doubt probably grabbing some type nulls, that way he can start setting up some Silvally GXs. And we can already see him eyeing down at least one type null, so we'll have to see what else he gets. Looks like a type null, a Mew, and another type null. So, and one thing that is worth mentioning too in these testing rounds videos, it's normally our first or second times ever playing the decks, so there might be some mistakes in this video series, so just something to keep in mind as we're watching this. And Corey just gets a DCE down for turn and then passes, so a decent little first turn. Here I'm going to evolve into Gourgeist, and what do I want to do here? I do have a DCE in hand. I can use Mallow actually. That might be a route I need to go. I did get Silvally GX in play, so if I use Mallow, I can actually use Trade to get the exact two cards I need. So it looks like that is what I'm kind of eyeing down here. Could go for Bridget, but I don't know. I think we can just kind of safely take a knockout if we want to. It looks like I'm actually eyeing down the Silvally GX. This is a little bit risky, just because if Corey is able to get that fighting memory on his Silvally GX whenever he evolves, he could take an easy knockout on our Zoroark, but we do have an N in hand ready to go in case that does happen. So it's a little risky, like I said, going for an aggressive play with Silvally GX, but we might have a way to respond if things go south for us. So here I would imagine we're probably going to get a Floatstone, and maybe another Gourgeist. That could be an option as well, or maybe just a different supporter for next turn. Or looks like I'm eyeing down the Zorua. That seems pretty decent as well. So the only thing is, I do remember specifically in this game, I forgot that Silvally GX had that GX move that is 50 for each bench Pokemon. So if I bench this Zorua, I'm going to put myself in one-shot range. So here I'm going to use Trade to draw those two cards we put on top of the deck with Mal. I'm going to bench Zorua, retreat this Klefki, and then we're going to take a knockout on Cobalion, but well actually I think we had to bench the Zorua just to hit for the right amount of HP to take a knockout. So, but here it looks like Corey is going to use Field Blower, getting rid of our tool cards, which are definitely very precious in this matchup. But here he is going to play Lele and going for an N, and I'm okay with this, I suppose. I had a workable hand, but I'll take a new one. Doesn't bother me. So let's see what Corey is going to do. He needs a Silvally GX and an Energy, and he'll be in a decent spot. He'll be able to take a knockout on Zoroark, going down to 4 prizes. So that's, I'm sure, what he is going to be after this turn. So let's see what he is going to get off of this end here. And I think we saw a Silvally. And unfortunately, though, I don't see an Energy in Corey's hand, so he might not actually be able to even take a knockout here. So he's just going to have to pass. So this definitely opens up an opportunity for us. I'm going to use Trade, discarding Mr. Mime to draw 2 cards, kind of a dead card in this matchup. So what we do here, we actually could potentially take a knockout on this Silvally GX. So if we get enough tools, we will be able to do that. Here I'm going to use Ultra Ball, discarding a Sycamore and Zorua. We might be going for a Klefki. That could actually be good. That could help getting us one step closer to taking a knockout. But here it looks like I'm just going to go for the Gourgeist. I think that is a little risky on my part. Grabbing the Klefki, I think, would help ensure that we can take a knockout this turn. But either way, it will thin the deck for us. But we still have another Ultra Ball, so, but here I'm just going to Sycamore. So I definitely think that might have been a bit of a misplay on my part. Not going for the extra Klefki to get in play. So let's see, I did get a couple tool cards. I will need a total of 5 tools in order to pull off a knockout here. So unfortunately, I think I may have a... Well, what do we do here? We have DCE. I mean, I think we can get, what, 4 tools in play, but that would only be 170 damage. So unfortunately, we might have to just attack with Zoroark GX here, just to soften up the Silvally. I think not grabbing that Klefki out of the deck with an Ultra Ball was definitely a misplay here. But here I'm going to Ultra Ball, or Corey's going to Ultra Ball, getting rid of, it looks like a Psychic Memory and a Guzma. So here it looks like he's going for another Silvally GX. And let's see, he has a Choice Band, looks like he's thinking about where to attach that. He's going to put that on Silvally GX on the bench and then NS yet again. So, I mean, even though this Zoroark GX is probably getting knocked out, Corey is going to have to knock us out with a damaged Silvally GX, which is probably not what he wants to do, but I think taking the 2 prize cards off the Zoroark is going to be just too big for him to not do. So here he does get the energy, and he's going to use that GX move. I believe it's Rebel GX, 50 times the amount of bench Pokemon your opponent has. Okay, so I'm going to promote this Zorua, and let's see. Couple things. What do we do? I mean, we could honestly just attach DCE to Lele on the bench and take a knockout that way. We could attack with Gourgeist as well. We have a lot of options. If we get out another Zoroark, we could go that route. Let's see. I don't have a supporter in hand, so that is definitely a little bit problematic, but we're going to take 2 prizes no matter what this turn, so I think we'll be in an okay spot. Here I'm going to Field Blower the Choice Band. Looks like I'm going to attach the Klefki, or thinking about it. Honestly, I think just attacking with Lele here is probably the safest route, but here I'm going to go grab a Lele out of my discard pile. That way we can grab ourselves a supporter for turn. So we can definitely grab ourselves a N right here. That way we can, punish Corey for taking that big knockout on his last turn. And it looks like I'm just really debating if I want to play this Nest Ball. So I'm going to do that first to thin out our deck. That way we can get a Klefki on the bench. And here, just to end us into a new hand. So Corey, he has 4 prizes left, so he's going to get 4 cards. I have 5, so I'm going to get 5. But luckily, once we knock out this Silvally GX, Corey's not going to have a lot to really work with on his following turn. So that could definitely go well for us. I don't really think he has max elixirs or anything like that to really come out of nowhere with a big knockout. Alright, so just taking a peek what we have in the discard pile. Maybe I have a rescue stretcher in hand. I didn't get a good look. Looks like I do. I might opt to save it though. I kind of want to save that for our Klefkis. Whenever they get discarded, we want to be able to get them back. That way we can keep reusing them. So here what I could do is I could use, because I think I just need to discard 2 tool cards. Looks like I'm thinking about getting rid of the Floatstone and the Klefki. So yeah, we're going to do that, take a knockout. It would have been less resources to take a knockout with the Lele, but Gourgeist is only a 1 prize attacker, so I felt like we could afford to commit a few extra resources to ensure that, you know, Corey doesn't have a way to soften up like another 2 prize attacker. But here it looks like he's going to use a rescue stretcher of his own, getting back I think Silvally, Type Null, and a Cobalion. Luckily he has this Mew has free retreat, but even if he didn't, he does have Silvally GX. It has that, I believe it's the Gyro Unit ability, gives all of his basic Pokemon free retreat. So even that Registeel, which normally is kind of hard to maneuver around, will have free retreat. But here Corey just passes, so not the best turn for him. That N I must have I played must have really put his hand down to something bad. But that is fine with me. I am more than happy to capitalize on that. So we have some options. Could use Guzma, and if we have enough tools, we could take a knockout on Silvally GX. That would actually be pretty big. We could take a knockout on Mew pretty easily. We just need 1 tool card to discard to do that. But I do see a Guzma Enhance, so we do have the option to go that route. I just don't know if we have enough tool cards in my hand to actually pull it off. So we do get out another Zoroark GX. So we would need 5 tool cards. We have a Klefki. We have a... Okay, it looks like I have a Nest Ball, but we discard that with trade. Okay, so I'm going to get down another double Carlos Energy onto the bench Gourgeist. So I do have a Rescue Stretcher. I'm not sure how many Klefkis I've gone through, but we could use that to get some of those back. So here, yeah, I think what I want to do is I'll probably just take a knockout on this Mew. That way it'll put me down at 2 prizes, and then next turn we can actually use Rescue Stretcher to get back all of our Klefkis and kind of go for like a big play, maybe against Silvally. But here, just another pass from Corey, so that N really must have put in some work against him. So here I'm just doing my math, just making sure I'm going to have a way to actually get 5 tool cards in play. So we have Klefki, we can attach that. We have Choice Band, we have Rescue Stretcher, and Guzma, so we can bring up... Oh, I forgot, he has a Lele on the bench. So yeah, all we need is 4 tools to discard to knock out Lele, since 160 from all the tools, plus the 10 base damage is 170 to take the last knockout. So Gourgeist is going to take the first game in this series against Silvally. Definitely not something I expected when we put these decks together to play with. But luckily this is a best 2 out of 3 series, so Corey kind of had a rough start there. He didn't really get to show off, I think, the strategy of Silvally very, very well there. That N definitely hurt him those last couple of turns. But since this is best 2 out of 3 though, he will have the option to go first, which I'm sure he's going to want to take. That way he can start getting set up you know, a little bit quicker than Gourgeist. So we'll have to see how game 2 ends up going. You know, a couple cards that didn't really come into play for Corey were Registeel. That's actually a big card to accelerate energy in the early turns while you're powering up a Silvally. He also runs some other stuff in the deck like Scizor EX. We actually see a Miltank in his opening hand. That is a card he's running in the list. If I'm unable to take one-hit knockouts, Miltank can actually put in a lot of work and you know, really disrupt my strategy as well. So here Corey looks like he is going first. He is going to bench the Miltank, kind of seeing that if I can't knock out stuff in one hit, Miltank will be able to you know, just heal off stuff since it has that Moo Moo Malt ability. As long as Miltank is your active Pokemon, whenever you attach energy from hand to one of your Pokemon, you heal 90 from that Pokemon. But here, Corey didn't really do too much. He had the energy attachment on Mew and benched the Miltank, and that's basically it. But here I'm going to use Bridget. Definitely the ideal first turn supporter. Going to grab a Zorua, and most likely we'll probably do another Pumpkaboo and another Zorua. That seems probably best to me, but here I might just take a look through my deck while I'm in there, just to see what else is in there and what's prized, and what we're going to have access to this game. So checking for DCs is definitely going to be important. This deck only runs double colorless energy, so it's definitely important to keep track of those. So really, with this Gourgeist deck, this is all you really need on the first turn is your turn 1 Bridget, and you're pretty much good to go. Since you don't really need to actually attach DC until you're going to take a knockout in most cases, but we do have it in hand. A little risky putting it on the Pumpkaboo, but just because if he has like a Lele DC, he can knock us out. But here I'm just going to pass, opting to hang on to the DCE. Here Corey's just going to Sycamore. Had to discard 2 Field Blowers. That's definitely not what he wants to see, especially against this deck, which is so reliant on tool cards. And it looks like he had a Gladian in hand, so that's actually really curious that he did not choose to play that on his first turn. That could have given him an out to grabbing something out of his prize cards. But here it looks like he is starting to stabilize, though. He is going to use, I believe it's Turbo Arm, if I'm not mistaken. Mew is copying Registeel's ability, does 30 damage, and you get a Metal Energy out of your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Okay, so let's see. I have some options. We have Ultra Ball in hand, so we can definitely grab a Gourgeist if need be. Another option we have actually is to grab a Zoroark, the baby one with the stand-in ability. So here I'm going to Ultra Ball, going to get rid of, looks like a Choice Band and Special Charge. Okay, yeah, I think I know what I'm doing here. So what we can actually do, we have a Guzma in hand. So what we can do is we can use Guzma to bring up that Type Null with the energy and take a knockout on that with this Zoroark that we just got. So I think I'm okay with that play. So let's do that. Silvally's kind of like the heart and soul of the deck, so if we can take an early knockout on these Type Nulls, that's definitely not a bad thing. So here we'll do that using Mind Jack. It does 10 plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So I believe we're hitting for 130 there. And Type Null only has 110 hit points. So, but here Corey is going to do Professor Sycamore, discarding his hand and drawing a fresh hand of 7. So let's see what he's going to get here. Probably finally hit a Silvally GX, I would imagine. I just have Scizor EX in hand. I'm not sure how good that is right this second. And here it looks like he's just going to do a Turbo Arm, getting another energy in play. So now his Type Null and his Silvally GX are just a double colorless energy away from being able to attack. So I think Corey's putting his energies in smart places. So here, what am I going to do? I have Sycamore in hand, so I think I'm just going to do that. Just attach the Float Stone and Sycamore and get a fresh hand. So we're going to get a Gourgeist online, but I think we're fine to just keep attacking with Zoroark for the moment. And, really beyond that, I don't know what else we really need. We got our Zoroark GX in play, and here we're going to use a trade to discard Mr. Mime from our hand and then draw 2 cards. So Mr. Mime, like I mentioned in the first match, a dead card in this matchup, so we definitely want to discard that as soon as possible. And here we're going to use Mind Jack, taking a knockout on this Mew. And here, Corey is going to promote Registeel. It has free retreat because of that Silvally GX that he has in play. Okay, so it looks like Corey's going to go for a Tapu Lele and play in. So he's going to get a fresh hand of 6 while I get 4 since I have taken a couple knockouts. But one thing that is nice about this deck is that we play Zoroark GX, so even if we do get into kind of a mediocre hand, we do have Zoroark GX to help draw out of it if need be. So Corey definitely needs an energy this turn, specifically a double colorless if he wants to take a knockout, and he does get it, so I'm sure he's happy to see that. Can finally start to show off this Silvally GX. It does 120 with its normal move, and then you accelerate a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Oh, and it looks like Corey may have actually forgotten to do that. I actually didn't catch that myself either. Huh. Okay, so definitely a bit of a slight misplay there. Hopefully that does not come back to bite Corey. I should have been more observant to catch that myself, but I just didn't notice it. But here, we're going to try to go for a knockout on the Silvally GX if possible. So we have the float, so that means we can retreat back into Gourgeist. We have 2 tools in play, we just need 3 more. Okay, so we have the Klefki in hand, so that'll be a 3rd tool for us. Ooh, and we have Floatstone as well, so we are actually in pretty good shape. So we're going to use Field Blower, getting rid of the Choice Band. And here we're going to Sycamore. Do we get a tool card? Yes, we do hit Floatstone. So we are actually going to be able to take a knockout with Gourgeist since we also got the double Carlos energy in order to use its attack. So we're going to play Nest Ball, getting down another basic Pokemon, and that will allow us to attach this Floatstone that we have in hand to it as well. So, like I mentioned earlier, 10 plus 40 for every tool that we discard, so we'll be doing, what's that, 200 with 5 tools, plus the 10 base damage is just enough to knock out Silvally GX. And so, yeah, not too much else to do this turn, just promote Gourgeist and take a knockout with Pumpkin Bomb, I believe is the name of the attack. So the only downside to this is that I'm setting myself up for an end play. You know, have a pretty big hand at this point. I had to discard a lot of resources, so an end right here actually would be pretty bad, I think. So here it looks like he is going to go for a Guzma on this Trubbish and just promote this Registeel. Okay, and this is actually a situation where if he had attached the energy from discard to his Silvally GX, whenever he used Silvally's attack the other turn, he would have actually been able to take a knockout on Gourgeist. So this is definitely a little bit, you know, come back to bite him just a little bit. But here I do have a DCE in hand, so that means I can't, or that means I can actually retreat this Zorua. But one thing I'm worried about is I think I actually might be out of Guzmas. No, but I have 2 in hand. Sorry, my mistake. Didn't see those earlier. So actually, if I have, what, 4 tools, we can just take a knockout here on this Lele. So we have 2 Klefkis in hand. So here I'm going to use trade, discarding 2 Guzmas. We hit a Choice Band. So that means we have 3 tools in hand, but I actually don't think we have any more Klefkis in deck to use that Ultra Ball on. So this is actually kind of a pain. But here we're going to use trade again. Do we hit it? No, we do whiff the last tool card. Needed to take a knockout here. So this is actually bad. Now I'm actually out of Guzmas. I do remember being out of Guzmas after a turn, you know, kind of in the mid to late game here in this second game. So that actually could be pretty bad because that means, you know, once Corey retreats this Lele, we're not going to have a way to finish taking a knockout on it. So honestly, I'm not even sure if I want to commit a bunch of tool cards, you know, to actually take a knockout here. So that definitely changes my plans. I'm just trying to think what is the best route to go. But here I think I'm literally just going to do 10 damage with the with Gourgeist's attack. It's not worth discarding all of the tool cards. But here it looks like Corey's going to play Acerola, promoting Registeel. And he's going to play down the Lele, going for an N for next turn. If I was Corey, maybe I probably would have just saved the Lele for next turn. Just because you can't play it this turn, and I don't play Garbodor or a way to show off abilities, so here he's going to soften up this Gourgeist, and Choice Band was actually my next card that I top deck. So if we would just gotten a little bit luckier, we could have actually taken a knockout on that Lele. But we're still in a decent spot. But I was trying to think, what do we do here, because we can't attack this Registeel with Gourgeist. I think we're going to run out of tool cards if we go that route, so we might have to just attack with Zoroark GX. but here it looks like I'm gonna play Mal. I wasn't even paying attention to see what I was grabbing. Might grab a Gourgeist just to help get another one of those set up. Trying to think. Maybe just some targets to trade away to prepare for this end that we're about to get hit with. So here we're going to use trade, discarding Lele to draw 2 cards. Going to get a Gourgeist. Then we're going to rescue Stretcher. So we're going to get back a couple Klefkis and that Lele. All cards that we wouldn't mind seeing after a late game end. So what do we do for the rest of the turn? That's the big question. We do have DC in hand, so I guess we could just retreat and attack with Zoroark GX and kind of bait Corey and to bring it the Silvally to take a knockout. So we could go that route, I suppose. Because the rest of our hand is just tool cards. We really just can't afford to waste all of those on a Registeel. But here, it looks like I'm pretty conflicted. It's just, you know, we could take a knockout on Registeel, but it's just, I just don't think it's worth it here. We'd have to discard 4 tool cards because he is resistant to us. And here I might just pass, I hate to say. Thinking about attaching the DCE. So yeah, because I think I remember here, I was going to try to retreat, but then I realized that the Gourgeist has a monstrous 3 retreat cost. So I was like, oh wait, we can't actually retreat this turn, so I do apologize for this long drawn out turn, guys. One thing I might consider doing is benching a Klefki in case of an end though. But here I'm just going to pass actually. So we'll have to see what Corey is going to opt to do. He is going to grab a Lele. So I guess he top decked that, and here it looks like he's getting a little greedy, going for a Zoroark GX. So I guess Corey maybe doesn't think I have a lot of great cards in my hand to work with. Since I didn't really do much, maybe he assumed, oh, he doesn't have any tool cards, he didn't take a knockout with Gourgeist. But here, he knocks out the Zoroark, which sets us up perfectly, basically, to take a knockout. So we just need 5 tool cards in play. We only have 4 Pokemon, though, so we're going to have to, I believe, get 1 more Pokemon. Well, here I'm going to use trade. We're going to need 1 more Pokemon on the bench somewhere, though. That's the thing. So it looks like I'm pretty conflicted. I really think we have to just go all in. I think this is too big of an opportunity not to try to take a one-hit knockout on this Silvally GX. So here, yeah, we're going to bench the Klefki. Guess we'll attach the Choice Band. Attach the Choice Band, bench another Klefki. And here, honestly, I think what we should do is probably attach one of those to one of our Pokemon and then bench the remaining Klefki in hand, because we're only going to get 2 cards off of this N. I think it's too risky not to do that. So here we're going to bench the Klefki, and we need a basic Pokemon. If we get any basic, we can use Wonderlock to attach a Klefki to a Gourgeist, freeing up a bench spot to play down a basic Pokemon and use the remaining Klefki in play to attach it to that Pokemon. So a big N right here. Only going to get 2 cards, so we'll have to see how this goes. So we actually get the Pumpkaboo, so we're going to bench that, attach all of our tools, and then we can discard all 5 of them, doing 210 damage to take a knockout here. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this look at these Crimson Invasion decks. Deck profiles will be posted within the next day or so, so definitely stay tuned for those and all the other Crimson Invasion coverage we're going to have on the channel. But as usual, feel free to like and subscribe, and a big shout out to all of our supporters on patreon.com/rarecandytcg. If you can go support us on our Patreon or at our online store, rarecandytcg.com, it would go a great length to supporting this channel. But with that, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for the next one.